Hello friends, my name is Michelle. Welcome to this vlog. Let me talk to you about it. This vlog is what you saw in the title, so it's going to be a random number generator telling me what to read. If you want to know, my TBR is split into 4 categories. One is a bookshelf that I have over there. Those are the oldest books on my TBR. Then I have shelves over there. That's the continuation of that. And then I also have a TBR card over there, and that's somewhere in the middle. But all of my TBR is chronological. The books that you see here, they go all the way here, by the way. I just did not know how to get all of them in frame, but this is my wall of books that I'm currently working with. I'm going to be picking from these because I just am sick of having them on the floor. This is also low-key inspired by Becca and the Books. I have been absolutely obsessed with her Shelve It or Scrap It episodes. I've literally just had them on loop from the beginning of this year, like all of them over and over again. Whenever I'm doing something on my laptop or something, that's what's playing in the background the whole time. I am not going to be scrapping anything. I don't necessarily DNF books, but otherwise I am very similar to Becca and the Books in that I will just not unhaul something that I have not read. Like, it would have to be an extreme situation, an extreme reasoning, something, because just like her, I want to give everything a fair chance, and I own the books because at some point in my time I was like, this is a book I want to read, so I want to give everything a good solid choice. This pile over here are again the oldest, going all the way to a very tiny pile here on the floor with like 5-ish books with the newest. In total I have 76 books here, which is about a third of my TBR. It's a situation, it's a problem. Who knew that having an adult job that doesn't pay the bare minimum would land me in this situation? I think I'm going to start with reading 5 books in this vlog. We'll see what happens. I might like return to this concept. You should let me know if you want me to do with my entire TBR or a different section, or if we should just stick with these, because I do want to make more space on my floor because I do not have bookshelf space currently. There are plans for more bookshelves, but I don't know when we're gonna get to that because there's approximately 75 other things that also need to be done around the house first. So we just need to create more space. I say this knowing that a book order was placed literally like an hour ago. And then I have like 5 more things in a basket on a different bookstore. But some things, I am doing the Buzzwordathon challenges this year, so it would be really neat if we could land on something that would fulfill the prompts for April or for March, because in March my girlfriend was deciding my reading and I didn't get to any books that would fulfill the March prompts, so that would be lovely. And I'm low-key participating in a magical readathon, really low-key this year, just like seeing where it takes me. I'm between 2 professions. If you don't know what magical readathon is, I'm not going to go into depth here because again, it's very low-key on my end, but I will link it down below. What's in here is everything. You can find historical, fantasy, literary, horror, young adult, romance, like everything is in these stacks because I really am the type of reader who reads everything. I think the thing that's here the least is thrillers. I don't even think I have any here other than like a random YA thriller here and there. Other than that, pretty much everything is in here. I even have a couple classics in here. I'm very scared to do this, but I'm also super excited. So we're going to do a random generator. I have it pulled up, so we're just gonna... This is very stressful. I understand that this is very stressful. Okay, I'm gonna... Oh god, is it generated? Is it generated? Is it generated? What number is it? It's 26. So that's gonna be one of the older books because I'm starting here from the bottom. The bottom is 1. So we're probably in these 2. So that's perfect for visibility. Please let's not end on this, because that is so big. Let's end more like 1 below, which is not big at all. That's what I want. Okay, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. No, that's so huge. That is so huge. I made some choices and they came to bite me in the ass. I literally straight up landed on The Angel of Indian Lake, which is the 3rd and final book in the My Heart is a Chainsaw series by Stephen Graham Jones. This has been in my TBR for about a year or something like that because I really didn't like the 2nd book, so I wasn't very keen to pick up this one. But guess what? Now I have to. So we're gonna do this. And I don't even know how to vlog this because it's literally a 3rd in a series. This is a horror series about a girl. I can tell you the first book, right? It's about a girl who is obsessed with slashers and then she's convinced that a slasher is happening around her, but nobody wants to see it that way. And then the second one to me was pretty much like when you watch the second Halloween and you're like, I don't want this. Like, I don't want this. Where's the 3rd one? And then you watch the 3rd one and the 3rd one is no better. So I'm scared, but maybe this will knock my socks off. I don't know. It is also so big. I just finished reading a 500-page book, and guess what? Well, luckily enough, this is not a 500-page book. It's a 520-page book. Regretting my choices, but the second pick could always be better. No, I'm also excited to read this because I do like Stephen Graham Jones. I'm just so scared because I didn't like the second one, like almost at all. I think I gave it like 2 stars. Out of the goodness of my heart, because Chainsaw is like a 5-star book for me, so out of nostalgia or love, I don't know, I gave it a 2. But oh my god, may this be better than that. Okay, let's go. Hello, it's been 5 minutes. In my shock that I pulled this as the first pick, I completely forgot to tell you that this in fact does not count for anything. For Buzzwordathon for March, I would need something with a book on the cover, which as you can see, it's nowhere near there, or with the word thing in the title, which again, you can see it's nowhere in there. And then for April, it's animal on the cover and in the title. So nothing is being achieved here. I also looked at the Magical Readathon. The 2, hold on, where's my phone? The 2 professions that I am most interested in, I always do something different every year. The excavationist and then the mage hunter, because I was thinking, listen, if I genuinely created a character for this, I would probably choose one of these 2 professions for that character, because that's just the type of bitch that I am. It does not count for anything. Technically, with the mage hunter, it counts for restoration, and with the excavationist as well, because the prompt of restorations is on both. And that's a book with a rating that's higher than a 4 on Goodreads, which technically this does have 4.16, but I have already finished one book in April, which was The Dark Mirror by Samantha Shannon, and that's kind of already locked in there, so cannot move around it. The other prompts, not even with a 10-foot pole. I'm just gonna be reading this 500-page book, really just because this game and the universe decided to do that to me. I will update you once I'm reading. I'll see what form this vlog takes, what shape and form. Right now, I think I'm going to be forced into doing a workout, because for all my complaining that I do about hating my lifestyle, I never do anything about it. And now my girlfriend is holding me accountable for some goddamn reason. I really don't like it. Nobody asked you. Can I just say thank you to the universe for one thing, and that is the time change, because the amount of daylight that we're getting now really is saving my entire soul. Yeah, okay. Toodles, I never know how to finish clips. Just like, I'll see you in a second, I guess. Let's talk about this. It is currently Tuesday. I had to think real deep about that, because it feels like this week has been going for 75 years. So we're not even halfway through. I've been steadily chipping away at this. I'm on page 220 out of 520. So I am almost halfway. I think I can hit the halfway point today. And my feelings on this are mixed. It's very difficult to talk about it in a vlog. I think it would be easier to talk about it in like a random wrap-up. But I think that's because, what am I going to talk to you about? It's literally the 3rd book in a trilogy, so it's difficult to be able to talk about this without like spoiling it and spoiling the 1st book, because not much is introduced that's new in this book. I have very mixed feelings about it. I would say that I'm enjoying it more than the 2nd book. This one, I think right now I would probably land on a 3, because there are some moments that are really strong for me, and I do enjoy being in the main character's head fully. I do like that. I feel like that was really missing for me in the 2nd book, which is why the 2nd book I think was a much less enjoyable experience for me, because I know people hate being in this headspace, but I enjoy it. I really like it. And it's interesting to see where the main character is right now, but I will say that we are on page 220, and if I could talk about this book in full, in spoilers, I could probably sum up the happenings of this, and I mean even like the minute details, like we are moving from location A to location B, in like 20 seconds probably, because for 220 pages, so little has happened. We are spending so much time situating the character in this new situation, except it's not really a new situation, just the attitude towards the situation is different. But then again, it's not that different from the attitude in the 2nd book, which just didn't get the 1st-person POV in the 2nd book. So it feels kind of repetitive, it feels kind of redundant, but not in a good way, because like at the same time, take Scream, right? Scream has
a gazillion movies in its franchise, and almost every single Scream movie follows literally the same freaking script when you think about it. And a lot of slasher films do, and that's part of the charm of slashers and the slasher genre in general. But this trilogy is just really not doing it for me in the way that it's developed. It really does feel like the first book is like an A-list slasher, and this is like the two sequels that were written and directed by somebody else, and it's just not living up to the first one. That's what it feels like to me. That's why I compared it to the second and third Halloween, and now the third Halloween as well. Because, and I will die on that hill, Halloween 1 exists, then there's 2 and 3, we don't want to talk about it, and then there's the fourth one. I do like those. This is kind of following the same trend where I just do not really find myself caring for anything that happens. I'm at this point vying for the main character to bite it just so I can feel something, because otherwise I'm not really feeling much for anybody here. I feel like even though we're moving in time, like technically all 3 books are like at different points in time. There's 4 years between the first and the second, and then there's another 4 years between the second and the third. But I feel like so few new characters and situations are being introduced that it's kind of disappointing in that way. The writing is more engaging, and I will say that the dialogue is less cringy than the second one, because the second one was a struggle bus. But again, these chapters are so long for no good reason. Yesterday I was looking, and we literally spent 4 pages between the character being like, oh my god, I see a body, I hope it's not X, and the character being like, oh, okay, it's not X. Girl, you walked like 10 feet. Why are we spending 4 or 5 pages on like 10 feet of a distance? I do enjoy the stream of consciousness on like a different level, but I feel like it's just an added layer that I didn't need in this because it wants to be a slasher. But then in moments it's not. It's just, I don't know. That's why I have really mixed feelings about it. Because on the one hand, there's a lot that I am getting to appreciate in this one. But on the other hand, I'm like, just get it moving, man. Because I feel like we're not even at the juicy part, and I'm almost halfway through. I don't know. It's a moment, it's a movement. I love Stephen Graham Jones, and I hate that these 2 books are not working for me. I still hope that this one will pull through, unless it introduces something truly ludicrous. I probably wouldn't have picked this up for another 2 or 3 years if it weren't for this vlog, so I guess I'm thankful for getting a 500-page book off of my TBR and actually reading it, because again, I probably wouldn't have gotten around to it for a very long time. That's where I stand. I probably will not update you again until I'm done with the book, and then we have to do the random number generator again. I do have like 1 or 2 sequels on that TBR pile situation thing. If I land on one of those, I'm just rolling again. I'm not going to read the first book instead, or like the previous book instead. I also have like The Sun and the Star on there, and I would have to read like a whole as 2 or 3 series from the Percy Jackson universe in order to like fully grasp every character there. I tried, and I had to put it down. So I'm not doing that. I'm just going to be generating a different number, and we'll see. That's all for right now. I'm gonna go have dinner, play some Mario Kart probably. My life is very exciting. Then I might, I don't know, fuck around. Have we all seen White Lotus, by the way? The last episode was bullshit. Let's discuss in the comments. Also, is anybody watching Yellow Jackets? This season is also absolutely bonkers. Let's discuss. I'm kind of getting to hate it. I feel like I'm such a negative Nancy right now. I've pretty much disliked everything. I also started the new Abby Jimenez book yesterday before sleep, which is not part of this vlog. No good. Not good, my friends. Not good. I'll be back when that's done. Hello, it's Saturday. I'm dying today. I just finished The Angel of Indian Lake. It took me 6 days. I update you about halfway through. I ended up giving it a 3.5 at the end. The ending, I think, was good. I think the last 100 or so pages, 150-ish, went by pretty fast. I was entertained, I was engaged, I was not necessarily absorbed, but I was more into it than before that. The middle chunk of this book, I kind of wanted to chuck it across the room and never touch it again, but the ending kind of made up for it. It was very good. It made me feel things, and I think it was perfect for the characters, and I still just adore what it has to say about womanhood. I don't know how Stephen Graham Jones like managed that, but he did, and I really liked it. I liked the ending specifically. It's very difficult to please me with an ending. I always feel like it could have been better or worse in terms of what's happening to the main characters. But I do think that this did exactly what it needed to do. So that's good.
And ultimately, I am glad that I read it because like I said in the previous clip, if I hadn't pulled this randomly with this number generator thing, it would have taken me years to pick this back up. And I was getting kind of done with reading Stephen Graham Jones because I didn't like Don't Fear the Reaper. As I finished this, I was like, would it be so rude of me to go and buy something else? Because it kind of reinvigorated my passion for Stephen Graham Jones as an author. I think he's a very smart author. Sometimes I think he just word vomits a little too much on the page, and I feel like his editor could be like, okay, we're gonna calm down and chop down like 200 pages, and I think it would have been perfectly fine. However, what I also appreciated was that we didn't just have like one reveal or something. There were like three, I think, 3 or 4. I did appreciate that because it kept the pacing going towards the end, and I feel like if the rest of the book was like that, I would have enjoyed it all the way through. And it probably wouldn't have been a 5, like My Heart is a Chainsaw. I still think that that book is perfect. Here I saw glimpses of that here and there where we either went back to the original themes from the original book, or there were some other things that were being explored that also like touched on feeling, because I think that's what Stephen Graham Jones is like really good at, is like exploring the human psyche through the genre of horror. And I feel like Don't Fear the Reaper didn't have that at all, and this was like 50-50 for me. But when it does explore the human psyche and what goes on in our heads and hearts, that's where his writing is at its strongest. And maybe that's why I like his shorter stuff a lot more sometimes, because it just punches you more. Because he really takes care with how he develops the emotional side of things in short things, because obviously don't have as much space to develop that. It's time to put this on my red pile and to return to my stacks over there, and also tell you the damage that I did. I told you last time that I bought 1 book, that I was mistaken. It was 3. 2 of them came in. The most recent editions are these 2. Icarus by Kay Ancrum, that's a last year release, and Compound Fracture by Andrew Joseph Smith, which is also a last year release. I got these 2 because I want them. I recently read The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. It slapped so hard that I immediately wanted to get this one. And this is a very shiny hardcover, but I really wanted to read this. Kate Ancrum mostly fucks. I've had some not so great experiences with her, but mostly it fucks. So these are the 2 most recent editions. We start with 76 books on here. We are now up to 77. So we're going to roll again. I am scared. I desperately want something that's not 500 pages. I think at this point that's like my only requirement here. Just something that is not 500 pages. Watch me land on like the Sword of Kagan or something, because I have that over there. Ideally, it would fulfill a single prompt this time. I don't even care if it's for the Magical Readathon, if it's for the Buzzwordathon, I don't care. I have it ready. Let me take down the brightness again, because I am so scared. I'm gonna press generate. 25, didn't I just have 26? That is crazy. It almost makes me want to roll again, but we're gonna respect the random number generator. And I'm gonna count 26. The good thing about this book taking me almost a week to read is that I do not remember where I ended. So I have no idea what comes up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay. Book. What's chosen? Okay. This is Biography of X by Catherine Lacey, and it is, let me tell you how many pages it is. Not 500, that's for sure, and that's good. If we like take away all the appendices and everything, 364, that's not so bad. All I remember about this one, because I had like a brief knowledge of this book existing before I bought it. I only bought this, I was low-key intrigued by it, but I had Pew by Catherine Lacey on my TBR first, and I wanted to get to that first. I loved that book. It's a tiny little book that I gave 5 stars. It was one of my favorite reads of last year. I immediately purchased like 2 or 3 more books by the author and then never touched them because I got scared that I wouldn't like them. But as far as I know, this essentially reads like a non-fiction book where a woman is putting together like a memoir biography of her late wife. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. I think I'm going to love it. I think I'm going to love the writing style, and I think it's going to be like a 5-star. That's my prediction right now. I do not know if this fits any prompts. I'm going to dive into this. Oh, there's pictures. Shut up. I love that. Okay, this is really going to be like a non-fiction. I'm gonna eat this up, I think. I'll let you know. Hi, oh my god. Welcome to the long weekend. I did not update you all week, but I wasn't planning to, so I don't feel any guilt about it whatsoever, which is grand and also exceptional. I finished the book I pulled yesterday. Biography of X. I've also finished other things. I finally finished the new Epi Jimenez. Honestly, I know that I haven't like talked to you about that book because it's not part of this vlog, but I'm so happy to be done with it now. You have no idea. I don't know how I persevered, but I did. It's done and we're moving on. Let's talk about this though, because this was an experience like I haven't had with a book in a very long time. I was scared of this book, like I said in the previous clip, I think, when I pulled it, because genuinely Pew was one of my favorite things that I read last year, and I was so worried and still continue to be worried to pick up anything else by Catherine Lacey. Even though I own it technically, I still have The Answers by her in the same stacks, and I'm equally scared to pick that one up. So unless I pull that, that's also not gonna happen for a very long time, because I just want to love it and I'm so scared that I'm not going to. I give it 5 stars. It was completely different from Pew. It was literally a 180 from everything that Pew was in terms of how it was written and what narrative choices were made. This, yes, on the surface, it is about a woman who is writing the biography of her late wife who passes unexpectedly in their little mansion cabin thing that they have going outside of the city. It is also so much more than that. This is also alternate history. The US kind of split in two after the Second World War, where you had the North and then you had the South, and they literally built a wall. I wonder where the inspiration for that came from. But there is a wall built between the South and the North of the US, and the South is extremely religious, extremely patriarchal, and the North is on the other side of that, very liberal. Patriarchy has been somewhat dismantled. I feel like it still comes through, but they like to believe that they are beyond sexism and patriarchy and etc, etc. And that all goes on beyond that. We go to the South, there is a reunification or whatever the fuck they called it in the late 90s, early 2000s, because this book also takes place majorly in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It barely brushes on the early 2000s, and you can still feel the impact of the alternate history there. What I found very confusing was the often sudden, unexpected inclusion of real-life artists, which I guess it makes sense because it's still the same history, it's just alternate. But when people like David Bowie and like Wim Wenders kept popping up, I was not vibing. It never managed to convince me that this is real. Every time it just made me cringe. Especially when like those real people's real work, like David Bowie's Heroes, were brought up, or like real movies and Jane Fonda and Christopher Walken and how he was involved in the death of Natalie Wood. I'm a science nerd, so I know about those things, and they feel too real to me. They feel too rooted in our actual history. I think there is one little thing that I underlined that I think is a thesis of this book, and it works as a thesis both for the relationship that this woman is essentially grieving while writing the biography, and also when we talk about the alternate history part, because I think it works for both. Reverence kaleidoscopes the ordinary into the magnificent. And I think, how do I explain this? I think it works on so many levels for what this book is trying to do, and it showcases that in so many ways. The entire thing, aside from the very beginning and then the very jarring end, is pretty much emotionless, even though it's interwoven with feeling. But all of it is so cold. It's a piece of journalism. If it convinces you, then this reads like a piece of nonfiction. I felt like I was reading a nonfiction book the entire time, and then the beginning and the end are very emotional. And after reading like 300 pages, 340 pages, the very last 2 paragraphs are so chock full of emotion that it made me shed a tear. It was like the single man tear that used to happen in CW shows in like 2015. You know exactly what I mean. I think that that's a feat on its own. I think honestly, I do love a gimmick. I've never said it I didn't. I do love a gimmick. And the gimmick itself is probably why I'm giving it a 5-star. Otherwise, it probably would have been a 4 on like an emotional side, because it didn't convince me in some places. But I think this has so much to say about how we make violence into something that is completely ordinary, how we take abuse and make it into something completely ordinary. And I think it also talks a lot about how we view the past, and how sometimes as we are removed from the past, we think back to it and we are either feeling nostalgic about it, or we are feeling clarity in terms of thinking about the past. But really it's just because we simplify the past, and how we don't learn from the past instead, and from what happened in our history. And I feel like it works both in how the main character is going through her grieving process and how she's grieving a relationship that was extremely toxic from both sides. I think both the character writing the biography and X that we are talking about, both of those people are not good people. I don't like them, and I don't think you're supposed to like them. I don't think you're supposed to pity them. I don't think you're supposed to feel anything towards them. I don't think you're supposed to resent them, hate them, whatever. I think you're truly here as a viewer, and you're supposed to take what you can from this book and pocket it and think about it. And I think that alternate history takes a lot of inspiration from extremists that live in the US right now, regardless whether we're talking about the religious South, the religious parts of the South, or we're talking about the North. I think it works in both directions. This was pretty dense, but I will say that I was not bored for a single second. I found it fascinating to be learning about this woman who took on so many personas over the course of her life. And I think it was really just because she was trying to figure out who the fuck she even was in the first place, because she didn't feel like she had an identity when she was very young and when she was a child and then later as a teenager. And I think it's also fascinating to look at the main character writing the biography and how she continuously lies to herself about how things happen and what they meant to her and what she's taking from them. But I think it also is a lot about feeling connected to somebody regardless of whether that person is good for you or not, and how difficult it is to get rid of that bond, and if it's even possible to get rid of that bond, or if you're going to find yourself 15 years later still thinking back to that person even if you're no longer with them, how you're still going to find yourself talking to that person in your thoughts, or thinking about what happened to you when you were together and the good things and the bad things, and how you separate those two when all of these things happen to you in equal measure. I don't know, I just think it's really interesting and fascinating. It made me think a lot about art and who I was when I was, I don't know, 10 years younger, 15 years younger, because I was very different then too. And I like books that do that, that make you not just reflect on the text that you're reading and what that text is trying to say and represent, but also make you self-reflect and think about who you are as opposed to who you used to be. I'm glad I read it. This challenge is working out so well for me, I don't even know what to tell you. Right now, because I finally finished the Epi Jimenez, I think I'm going to, as my before sleep book, not that you care because this vlog is not about that, I think I'm going to read Everything is Tuberculosis, because now I feel like reading nonfiction after this, so I think I'm going to read that. And as for my next generated book, I'm going to wait a couple days because it's a long weekend. If you're new here, you don't know this, but every month I take one weekend and me and my girlfriend read a book together in one day, and then we just watch movies the other day. And since this is the long weekend, it's like the perfect opportunity to do that. So we're going to be buddy reading a book that is not generated. I'm not going to be reviewing it in this vlog, but it was my turn to pick. I picked Somadina by Ekweke Emezi, and I'm excited to read that with her. After that, we're going to generate another book from my TBR, and we'll see what that is. We still have 3 more numbers to go. Really enjoying this so much. Really, that's the message. I was like, I'm scared, I'm excited. No, I'm just enjoying myself like a lot with this challenge, and that's the message. Okay, hi, we are again in corner with the books over here. We're just going to do this. If it lands on 24, I'm straight up going to generate again. No, probably not, because that wouldn't be against the rules of the game, but it's gonna irk me and it's gonna frustrate me and I'm gonna hate it. So that's just like blanket statement. Anyway, I have it ready. I put it down by 1 book and we're gonna do it, and we're gonna hope for the best. Okay, let's do you see it? Do you see it? Did I click it? Do you see it? Okay, is it 24? No, it's 45. Okay, so we're going in different places. I think we're gonna go here, maybe, possibly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Okay, so we're definitely going here. 36, I know, right? Yeah. Okay. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Oh no! I was supposed to buddy read this with Angel. It's here. It's Rainbow Blake by Maggie Thrash. She gave me this book and we were supposed to buddy read it together. What do I do? Do I generate again? Disappointing. But let's generate again. Do you see it? Do you see it? 67. Okay, so we're going here then. Oh my god. Okay. 46, 47, 44, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66. 67. 67. We're going here. This is scary. Okay, let's go. My girlfriend is very excited because I pulled On the Savage Side by Tiffany McDaniel. I do not know anything about this and I'm going to keep it that way, so I'm not going to give you a summary or my thoughts or anything of the sort. But I did read the first page because originally I gave this book to my girlfriend for Christmas. She read it and then I put it on my TBR. She loved it. Not as much as Betty though, I will say that. But I read her the first page and I was like, ooh, this is the nicest writing I've read in a very long time. So this is a low-key 5-star prediction, and what have we learned about my 5-star predictions? I don't read them. And we've also learned that this vlog is pushing me to read them. So I'm scared. This is another longer book. This is over 400 pages. Because we don't pull short, easy books in this challenge this time around, apparently. But I'm gonna do it, and when I've cracked it open, I will give you my first thoughts, initial thoughts, I think.
There's a singular bag being rustled in the kitchen. And this dog has not been this awake this whole evening. Anyway, hi, I'm here with an update. It's been like a week since we last spoke. I have been chipping away at On the Savage Side by Tiffany McDaniel, and the entire time I was thinking I should update you, but I didn't really know what in the fuck to say about this book, because I feel like it is fully impossible to summarize. Like, I could give you the bare bones of the plot, but I don't think it would give you anything, because I think that it's about so much more than the bare bones of the plot. Like, the bare bones of the plot, okay, we have twin sisters whose parents are addicts, and the only person in their life who is in any way, shape, or form trying to raise them is their grandma. Except they can't live with their grandma, so they live with their parents. And then it's like this continued cycle of drug abuse, and it's like a little life for a group of women. In a way, okay, it's not like a little life. That's a simplification of what it's talking about. To me, as a woman, this is a harder read than A Little Life, even though there are things in A Little Life that are perhaps more relatable to me as a person with my own mental health issues and history. However, on the Savage Side, like, yeah, we can talk about the drug use and we can talk about that continued cycle of violence and whatever, but it is about the abuse of female bodies, assigned female at birth specifically in this case, and how people treat them and how they use them and what that does to us as part of the human species. I do think that it could have been like trans inclusive. I think that that's one thing that I would probably give this book like a minus, because so often books that center women, whether that's a plot like this where it's about, you know, trying to get money so you can buy your dope, and how you get the money and how people use that and abuse that and take advantage of that, and how that is just, and how men are horrible also assigned at birth. I feel like whether it's that or it's a book like The Power or The Handmaid's Tale, you know, books that are inherently about exploring womanhood, so often forget, whether it's on purpose or incidentally or whatever it is, so often they forget about the fact that trans women exist and that these topics, especially in these cases, touch them equally, if not more. I mean,
there's this movie called The Stroll, and I think that movie should be like a companion to this book, because it is solely about trans women and this entire cycle that I just mentioned, and I feel like that could have been included here. However, on the plus side of this book, the writing is incredible. I don't think I've read writing like this ever. It is similar to White Oleander, if you've read that. I feel like that's such a niche pick these years. I feel like it's going to have like its own comeback in like 5 to 10 years. But right now, I don't think I've seen anybody talk about that book in like 10 years. And even 10 years ago, it was like a Tumblr book. But I mean, me myself, I read White Oleander just because it was like a friend's favorite book at the time. I'm having a good time with it, but I really don't know what else to tell you. I think I'll wrap this up very quickly when I'm done with the book. I will tell you I finished it, it was this rating, and this is why I liked it, and this is how it ended up. When I mentioned that this is heavier than A Little Life to me, like there was, I cried just because it was so touching to me. And then there are just things, the way it's written, I think it's based on like true victims of sexual violence and violence in general, and I know that there are bodies coming, and I know what they're trying to say, and every time that something like that happens, there is I don't know what to call it, because it's not really anatomical, but there's like this little thing that in a very poetic way describes the woman that was just found in the river. And every time that happens, my stomach just drops, man. I had one pretty recently, and when I saw it, my heart just like clenched onto itself. I don't even know how to explain it. Obviously, I cannot find it. No, this is the one that made me cry afterwards. However, I stopped here. I literally have like 100 pages to go. I would love to finish this tomorrow so we can pick another book. But I have this much to go. I stopped here and I was like, I wonder, could I just read one more chapter? Like, how long is this chapter? So I turn a page, and then I turn a page, and then I see this, and I was just like, okay, maybe let's not do this tonight. It's midnight. I do not want to read about another dead woman. It feels too real, and I do not want to do that to myself. That's why I put on my cozy garbs, my oversized corgi hoodie. Is that what they're called? I don't even know. And instead, I'm going to have myself a little alcoholic beverage, and then I'm going to have myself a little movie that is probably also going to make me cry. Let's be real, like, I cry so much. Hi, we are back in our usual spot with the books. I just got back from work, and I am trying to repress the fact that I go to work and that I have a job, and that the job is what it is. So, perfect way. I finished, wow, I should, it's Monday, I'm a mess. I finished this last night. It was good. I think I'm going to give it 4.5. There were some things, like I discussed with you in the last clip, that were missing for me. The ending was very solid. I liked it a lot. I liked the plot twist. I was worried for a second where it was going to go, but I really liked it. I think the writing is its strongest point, and I think I said everything in the previous clip, just like I said that was going to happen. It did. Solid read. 4.5. I mean, I'm reading really good books for this challenge. Maybe I should do this all the time. Maybe this is just how my reading should be. I should maybe just entrust my entire reading life to a random number generator. It seems that it's working out for me because I'm picking out books that I probably wouldn't have read for another 3 to 5 years probably. Let's be real with each other. Like, we can be honest here. And I'm rating them pretty highly. Even Angel of Indian Lake was, yeah, sure, at 3.5, but it still turned out better than I ever anticipated. So really, that's another win. But let's move on to the exciting part. I know that's why you're here. And that is generating the next number. We are down to 75. We've made 0 progress, essentially, but that's okay. We're going to generate 2 more times. Wow, glare. Okay. Those are my curtains, if you needed to know. But we're going to do it. And I'm going to say what I want. Something we haven't had. I did just read a romance outside of this vlog, so I'm not necessarily craving that, but we also haven't pulled it, so I wouldn't hate it. We haven't pulled any fantasy. We haven't pulled short books. Please give me something short, Jesus Christ, as you are about me. And we also haven't pulled any YA. Granted, there's not that much YA, but there is some, so it would be lovely if we could somehow do a mashup of those, but also not land on something that is this thick, but it's like a YA fantasy romance, okay? That would be ideal. So let's generate, and if it lands on a 25 again, I'm going to scream. I'm gonna do it. Okay, are you ready? Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? I'm gonna look.
It's a sequel. What did I say about sequels last time? That we are not reading them and we are not going to the first book instead. Wow, underwhelming for the second time in a row. Okay, one more time. I think you can see it. I think you can see it. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, right? 58, 59. Mm-hmm. This is fine with me. This is fine with me. This is what I pulled. It's World War Z, Z. I don't know how you want to pronounce the letter, but this is what we landed on. It is like 340-ish pages, but it's all... Listen, this is also the reason why I wanted to read this. Kind of like Sleeping Giants, this is all told in interviews. So this fits for two things actually, for me, not for any of the challenges that I mentioned originally, but in the meantime, the fantasy bingo came out, which this counts for that. And also counts for me because I wanted to read books and movie adaptations this month. I read 0. So on the 28th of April, we rolled this one. And I'm pretty confident I can finish this before the month is out, which would be lovely. You can tell that this is about World War with zombies, okay? Have you seen the Brad Pitt movie? I remember going to the movies for that one with my friend in high school. We literally laughed so much because this man with his shoulder-length hair went through an entire plane crash, survived unscathed, and all the while his hair was having like its moment of glory, and it was literally the funniest thing I saw that year. We're going to enter this. I'm going to update you. I'm expecting this to be like a 3. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted to read this because I think it must be better than the movie, and I also really like books that are written in this format. Not even mixed media, just like interviews and other stuff like that. Like, I guess that is kind of mixed media, but it will count for the epistolary prompt. That's the word. But let's do it. It's short. I will update you soon. Hi, it's freaking Friday. I'm not crying about it. This is just the state of my being. I probably laid down too hard and a tear escaped my eyes. I'm here to talk about this. I have not finished it, but I figured for once in my life I could give you an update while I'm still reading a book. Wow, what's that like? I have about 100 and something pages left of this. I'm so confused about how I feel about this because I feel like we give a lot of grace to books that are, you know, published a while ago. And at first when I was reading certain parts of this and like reading the commentary in here, because a lot of this is political commentary and I do not know how much of that is just the author's like self-insert. I feel like a lot, but we can touch up on that later. I was thinking to myself, you know, this was published in 2006. That's a long time ago. It's not. Then I thought about it in my little noggin and I was like, it's really not that long ago. Like, this is the beginning of Tumblr times. Like, it's not that long. I was a teenager when this came out, and when I was a teenager we were already talking about some of the things that are in here that we were deeming problematic. So I'm not sure how that compares. I also am not the biggest fan of this. It's funny that I pulled this because technically it's another like fake nonfiction book, kind of like the Biography of X, and I think I can make a great comparison here between the two, because Biography of X was obviously 5-star. This is probably going to be a 2 or 3. I'm not going to lie to you. And I think a lot of that is because Biography of X manages to be a fake nonfiction biography of somebody that you do not even know, and you deeply care about that person because the writer of that biography is the wife of that late woman. That doesn't even make any sense. You know what I'm trying to say. This is so cold and distant. You cannot connect to anything or anybody, and so much of it feels like filler. I feel like we could have done so much more, and this could have been truly a mixed media book, and should have been even, dare I say, because so much of this, like all of these interviews that the author is conducing, is that the word? Maybe, we don't know. It's Friday, okay? I don't know who I am. They are all set some unspecified number of years after this huge war with the zombies, which, by the way, can we really classify it as a war if one side is acting on impulse that is in their genes and they are not actually consciously aware of what is happening? What is war? It's taking place so many years after all of this happened, so you already know that every single interviewee is alive and well in their life. I do appreciate it takes place all over the world. Like, we've been to Japan, we've been to North Korea, we've been to South Korea, we've been to Slavic countries, we've been to Scotland, America, Alaska, Africa. Like, we've been all over the place, and I do appreciate it that we kind of cover what these zombie movies and books and TV shows don't usually cover, and we are covering it anyway. So I do appreciate that. I feel like Again, like I was talking about the exclusion of trans women in my previous book, I'm going to talk about the exclusion of indigenous peoples in this novel, because I feel like if we're going to have this type of discussion, then that needs to be included, but also he's white, so it's a conundrum. Maybe he shouldn't have written the book. I would not be mad. I feel like I made a big mistake buying this, but at least I bought it secondhand, so I spent like €2 on this, so I'm good mentally. It's all very cold, it's all very distant. I feel like it could have been excerpts from movies from that time, messages, reports, text chains, Reddit threads. It could have been so much more than it actually is, and I think I'm feeling particularly sad about it because there have been like 2 or 3. Listen, I'm like 230 pages in, and there have been like 2 or 3 moments where I was like, oh, you do understand human emotion, and you do understand that that's what the reader needs in order to connect to this person that's talking. Where is it in the rest of this book? When I was on page 100 on the dot, I seriously considered DNFing this, but I don't like DNFing. I don't know why. I just like persevering. Maybe I just like hurting myself. I don't know what it is, but I just don't like it, even though I greatly support it when other people do it, and I sometimes do it too. It's just not my go-to method of reading, and maybe that's a problem, but that's a problem for another day. Okay, today we're talking about this. I'm going to finish this, and then we're gonna pick the last book of this vlog, and I swear to God, if it's not like off the bat immediate pick, I'm gonna be upset, because I feel like the last 2 rolls were incredibly underwhelming and I hate it. So I have hope in my heart. I finished this on Friday, I want to say. Yeah, on Friday. I have like 0 thoughts on this. I even rewatched a movie with my girlfriend over the weekend. The movie is like half a star better. I gave this 2 stars. I was not a huge fan of the political views that the author was trying to push. I was not a fan of the way it was written, but I think I told you all that in the previous clip about this book. I really don't know what else to say about it. It feels like maybe I should just like wrap up the book at the end and just give you like an overview of the plot when we speak first about a book, because I honestly have nothing to add. There is nothing in my brain that is connected to this, and I think part of that is because it's a 2-star. It just really did not work for me. I did not emotionally connect to it, and maybe that's why I also do not want to spend any more time talking about it and wasting my breath on something that I genuinely didn't enjoy. It was not a 1-star because I read it and I finished it. It wasn't like atrocious, and I think there are some people that might enjoy it, and by some people I mostly mean dude bros. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think it's a very dude bro book, and I think it's a very dude bro movie, but I think the movie did some things better than the book in that it tried to connect you as the viewer to a specific character and his struggles. Is it a good character? No. Is it a well-written character? Also no, but at least it tried, because like I said in the previous clip, I think that's why it failed me the most, is because I just could not connect to anything, because the story itself is not that interesting, and I also really do not understand, like I was speaking about in the previous clip, the whole war idea behind this. It just did not work for me. It really begs the question of what even is war, and what can we compare it to, and whether it's something like this where you have a virus and the people attacking you don't even know that they're attacking you, and they don't even know that they have a virus. They don't even know that they're hungry for your brains or to kill you or whatever. There's no reasoning behind it, and with a war, especially if we are going to go into a political sphere, that is something completely different, and I think we see it on a daily basis in the world these days, especially speaking about how Palestine has been treated and how Ukraine has been treated. Even like that is war, and there are so many reasons behind a war, and who incites, that's the word, who incites a war, and how and why, and there's so much more that goes into it than just like the act of killing that is portrayed here, from the zombies towards the people. So I think it really skirted the issue of what an actual war actually is, but you know, it's done. I do not want to speak about it anymore, and right now I'm going to transport you to past me, which is future me for me, but for you it's past me, to do the last roll. I did that on Saturday but I did not, I had 8% of my battery and I did not have time to do both, so
Hi, we are here for the last time in this corner of space and time. My camera is pretty much almost dead, so we do not have a lot of time to do this, but this is my last roll, and I hope it's a good one. I swear to God, if it's not, I'm gonna riot. We're not gonna be friends, we're gonna be enemies, but I'm gonna get straight to it. We are down to 74. I feel like I have made 0 dents here, because I have made 0 dents here. But that's okay, that was not the point of this challenge. The point of this challenge was to have fun, and mostly I have had fun. So let's see if this continues the trend. I'm gonna... can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Worrisome, because a lot of chunks in the first 10 or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yay! This is such a good roll. I don't think we rolled from the first stack, first of all, so that's exciting. And we rolled and landed on this. It's The Haunting of Alejandra by V. Castro. This, I have no idea what this is, but it's been on my shelves for a very long time, as you can see. So I am extremely stoked that this happened and that I landed on this as my last roll. I genuinely am so excited to read this book. I don't know why I haven't picked it up, but this is such a good note to land on. Ooh, I'm so excited now. Okay, I feel like we could end on like a 4, right? Like, if you know me and you're watching this right now, do you think this could be a 4? I think it could be. So I think it has something to do with motherhood and the horrors of motherhood, but don't quote me on that because I genuinely don't know. So I will update you when I'm about 50 pages in or so I can tell you the basic plot, because I am the person who does not read summaries and I would like to keep it that way. But yay! Oh my god, I'm so excited. Okay, let's do this. Let's do it. Also, beautiful cover. Absolutely stunning. Good morning. It's 6 p.m. on a Monday. I need to talk to you about 2 things. You will see them spaced out in time, but please know that I'm doing both at the same time because mentally it was just not working out over the weekend. I'm here to talk about this, The Haunting of Alejandra. I told you that I would update you when I was about 50 pages into this book. Did not work out that way, and you know why? Because I essentially read 220 pages in like 2 sittings very briefly. Did not even know how it happened, but here we are again. Probably because life just works in funny ways, and maybe I was just meant to update you 100 pages from the end for most of these books, but that's okay. If you don't know what this is about, I feel like this was very popular like 2 or 3 years ago. I think I bought it at the beginning of last year or the year before that. I really do not remember. This is about Alejandra, who is a mother to 3 children and a wife to a mostly absent husband. And I feel like me using the words she is a mother to and a wife to really encompasses what Alejandra is struggling with at the beginning of this book, because she does not feel fulfilled. And I feel like this book skirts a very thin line between bashing motherhood and marriage and actually exploring these topics, and I feel like it's doing a really good job of doing that. I really do not feel like it's doing either of those things. I think that it's talking about both in a very interesting way, in that it manages to explore all of those themes and topics in a relatable way, because I may not be a mother and I may not be a wife, but I am definitely still relating to Alejandra on a personal level, where especially her being not fulfilled comes into question. And she is around my age, you know, she is around 30, and she is questioning where she is in her life, if there's even any way for her to escape the path that she found herself on. And she's constantly feeling guilty for the decisions that she made, and then it's also being brought into question whether she had any say in those decisions, or whether societal expectations just kind of put her in that position, and where the line between those 2 things are. At the same time, she's being haunted by a creature that she thinks might be La Llorona, so it has a mystical, ghosty element to it, and I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna give you my brief thoughts, because that's the plot. She also seeks a therapist who is also a curandera, so that is also that. But my brief feelings on this is that I'm enjoying it, but not on a level that I thought I would be enjoying it. I do think that it does a good job of doing all those things that I just mentioned. I'm not gonna repeat myself. And it's extremely readable, but the writing style is not my favorite. I'm probably not going to remember the writing style or anything like that. I think it's a little immature. I don't know. It's not my favorite type of writing style. Let me just put it that way. And it's very obvious what it's doing. Like, it kind of dumbs it down for the reader, and I did not need that. You know, I would prefer it if it was a little bit more serious in tone, because at the same time I feel like the tone is very light for what we're talking about. And the one thing that means for me personally, I know that this is not an issue for everybody, and I know that people really like this book, but for me what it's lacking is atmosphere, and I think it's because the writing is not my favorite type of writing. There have been scary and creepy things happening in this book since like page 1 essentially, and not once did I feel creeped out or scared or anything like that, or absorbed in the atmosphere. Absorbed in the plot and story, sure, but definitely not the atmosphere. I am detecting zero atmosphere, but that's me personally. I'm still enjoying this, and I still wouldn't be surprised if this was a 4 in the end, but I will update you on that when I finish this. I would love to finish this today. I think it might happen tomorrow because life is so difficult, y'all. I don't even know where to begin. This is a book that I'm reading. I'm gonna finish it, and then this vlog will be over, which I feel like is high time, because I feel like this has been going on for 75 years, mostly because it has. And then we don't know what's gonna happen after that. But first, wrapping that up. And until then, I'm gonna have a Monday and a Tuesday, and possibly a Wednesday before I speak to you. And I can only hope that I will see you, and I will still be retaining the one brain cell that has not rotted away from my brain. This vlog is in the process of being edited and eventually possibly posted, and I realized that I never wrapped up the last book or gave you an outro, so that's what we're here to do today. I need to talk about this. It feels, I've read like 2 or 3 books since this. It's not like it's been 75 years, but it feels like it's been 75 years, and I feel like I've told you everything, but I think that's also because I wrote my little review in my little review journal, so I don't remember anything. It's like I write my little review and then I forget. The book just leaves. It like packs its bags, leaves right out the door. So I don't know how cohesive I'm gonna be, but I don't even remember what I told you. So it's going to be a journey. Haunting of Alejandro. I don't even remember what rating I gave this. 3 or 3.5. One of those two. It was an enjoyable read. The writing was very chick lit book club kind of thing, which is easy to read. It's not my favorite. I love my pretentious, overwritten bullshit too much, and that's just me. I do think that it's a very easy read, even though it deals with difficult topics. I did talk to you about, I think, about how it goes between discussing maternity with just trying to live your life and also be your own little person, and how difficult it sometimes is. The ending got a little too far-fetched for me. I did not enjoy it all too much. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, it was fine in terms of what the book was doing, and I understand the ending, and I don't hate the ending. It was fine. It was like a very average finish to this whole experiment. Yeah, I gave it 3.5. I remember now, because I was thinking to myself that I started this vlog with a 3.5 and then I'm ending it with a 3.5. I am nonetheless very glad to have done this experiment, because I feel like I read a lot of things that otherwise I wouldn't have picked up, and a lot of those things I genuinely enjoyed so much. Or on the other hand, I did not enjoy, like World War Z, whatever. And now it's off of my TBR and I don't ever have to think about it again, which I see as an advantage to my life as well, not gonna lie to you. I am going to do another variation of this exact same thing, where I'm just going to be focusing on the stacks on the floor you saw. I have added books to that stack at this point, but I am at a lower number still than when I started this experiment, because I've also read some books from those stacks since we finished this, so we're good. But we're going to do another iteration of this, and this time it's going to be my girlfriend rolling the number, which technically means absolutely zero difference. It makes zero sense to like call it a new concept, because a machine does it for you. It's not like she's going to like telepathically somehow summon a number from her mind. She's literally just gonna use the same number generator as I just did, but in my heart, it feels different. It feels like a new concept, and I want to do it. So that's what we're gonna do next month. So you're going to be seeing that vlog. In terms of this random number generator, I always thought that people were just being silly. Like, I didn't think that there was any point to this, but turns out these are a lot of fun. I had such a fun time. I haven't had such a fun time with a vlog in a very long time, and I don't just mean the act of filming and talking to you, because I did get tired of that towards the end. 5 books is a lot, even though I'm gonna do the exact same thing again. But I also mean just with the challenge itself. I do like being in control of my reading, because I am a mood reader, but I didn't mind this. It was like a game. I love games more, apparently, than my mood reading. So I was a very happy camper the whole time. So I'm very excited to do this again. Before that, I might or might not do a vlog. I'm going traveling next week on Friday. Now with my girlfriend, I'm codependent. I'm gonna be so sad and so stressed and just like, ugh. I am going traveling and I am excited because we are going to Paris. I've been to Paris multiple times. It was always a great time. It does wake up the pretentious asshole inside me that lived on the outside of me for a very long time in high school, so we'll see what happens. It makes me want to like appreciate art and read serious books and like take pictures of buildings because they have character and personality. I hate myself when I'm in Paris, but I also love it. We're gonna be in Paris for 4 days. I think we're going on Friday next week and then we're gonna come back on Monday. I might take you with me. I honestly do not have any concrete plans, even though I do want to go book shopping, obviously, and go to some, because listen, when I go to Paris, I don't mean I'm going to the Louvre. I'm probably going to go because I haven't been in like a decade, but I mostly mean I'm going to go to some cemeteries and some flea markets. Like, this is what I mean when I say that I turn into a pretentious piece of shit when I'm there, but I'm very excited. I think that's it. That's what you can expect from me. I know in my last vlog, I think in the end I said that you can expect a wrap up from me. Turns out they do not bring me joy. And one thing that I stopped doing with this channel, well, two things. Regularity, nobody cares, least of all me. This is not my job. I don't have to do this regularly. I just need to do it when I feel like it. So that's one thing. But the second thing is I am just not willing anymore to film a single video that does not bring me joy. I will abandon a project that I have spent like 2 hours on, like talking to the camera actively and taking b-roll, just because it doesn't bring me joy anymore, and that's okay. So wrap-ups, it's not gonna happen. I have my little journals. That's how I keep track of my reading right now. So that's what I'm gonna be doing going forward. And when I told you that there would be a quarterly wrap-up, that was a lie. I did not know it was a lie, but turns out it was. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. I feel like I yapped so much during this vlog, so I hope you enjoyed it to some degree. If you enjoyed even a single 15-second little section of this video, please do give it a like and give me a subscribe if you want to. Like, I just did say that I'm not doing this like on a regular schedule, but hey, who doesn't love a surprise? If you want to be surprised when one day you open your subscription feed and I'm there, hit that subscribe button. I actually would appreciate it. So go for it if you want to. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for being here with me for this odyssey. It was my pleasure, and I hope it was yours as well. Okay, bye!